Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll learn about the sampling and scrapping process in SAP MM. We'll learn the meaning of sample drawing and how you can do this in SAP through various movement types. We'll also see what is a destructive and non-destructive testing. We'll also see how we can scrap a material if it is no longer in use or if it is damaged. If you are into inventory management, then this is a very important topic because often you will require quality testing of the incoming materials and you have to learn what all processes are there in SAP through which you can perform the quality testing of the material successfully. So let's start. Now before we start our video, let's just refresh what we discussed in our previous videos also, and that is what all stock types are there in SAP MM. So as you can see on the screen, for any material, you can have any of these three stock types available in the system, and that is unrestricted use stock, quality inspection stock, and blocked stock. The withdrawal for consumption is only possible through unrestricted use stock. That is, the unrestricted use stock is the stock which is available for consumption. So you can see here, for quality inspection and block stock, only withdrawal for sampling, scrapping, or posting inventory differences is possible. And today we'll learn about the sampling and scrapping process for all these three stock types. So first of all, let's understand what is sampling. Now let's say that you receive a material with some quantity in your warehouse. Now to perform the quality testing on that material, it is not possible to check each and every unit of that item. To ascertain the quality of the material, what you have to do is you have to draw a sample out of this whole quantity that has been supplied, and you have to perform testing on that sample only. If that sample passes the quality test, then you will mark the whole quantity that has been supplied as acceptable. If the sample does not pass the quality test, then you will reject the whole material. So this is the concept of sampling, that you draw a small quantity from the quantity that has been supplied. You perform test on that small quantity and then you certify the whole supplied material whether it is acceptable or not. So in SAP, specific movement types have been given to do this sampling process. And today we'll learn about all those movement types and what all processes are there in SAP to do this sampling. Now let's see what all sampling processes are there. So you can see here, sampling can be done in these two ways, that is destructive sampling or non-destructive sampling. As you can see on the screen, you have two kind of items. One is the coffee beans and another one is a monitor. Let's say that you receive coffee beans in your warehouse. Now to perform testing on that, you will draw some sample. Now the testing process for this coffee bean will be such that the sample that you draw will be destroyed while doing the testing process. You will use that sample of the coffee bean that you have drawn and you will perform the quality test. During that test, those coffee beans will get destroyed or those coffee beans will no longer be usable. So this kind of a sampling is called destructive sampling. On the other side, you see, let's say that you receive monitor from the vendor. Now you will perform some quality assurance tests on this monitor. In this particular process, the monitor will not get destroyed. You will perform certain quality assurance checks. You will try to switch on this monitor. You will try to see whether it works or not. All those tests that you will do on this monitor will be non-destructive in nature. So for this monitor, you will do something called as a non-destructive sampling or non-destructive testing. And in SAP, for both these activities, you have separate processes. So let's see how destructive sampling is done in SAP. So you can see here, you have a plant under which you have a storage location. Under this storage location, a stock can be kept in any of these three stock types. You have unrestricted use stock, quality inspection stock, and blocked stock. Now let's say that you do GR for 100 kgs of coffee beans. Okay. Now this GR can be done in any of these three stock types. Now, once you have done this GR, you have to draw out sample from any of these three stock types. That sample you will test, and during that testing process, that sample will get destroyed. So what you have to do is, you have to basically post a goods issue movement against any of these three stock types. That is, the quantity that you have received in your stock, you have to issue a particular quantity, which is the sample quantity, and after that issue, that sample will get destroyed. So you can see on the screen, you have coffee beans under material code M001. And once you do the GR, your total stock will become 100 kg. And let's say that moving average price is 100 rupees. So total value of your stock will be 10,000 rupees. Okay. So this is your current stock. Now, once you do the sampling process, you will basically issue certain quantity from this available stock. Okay. And for the sampling process, SAP has given specific movement types. Let's see that. So you can see for all these three stock types, different movement type has been given to do this sampling process. And that is for unrestricted use stock, the movement type is 333. For quality inspection stock, the movement type is 331. And for blocked stock, the movement type is 335. And you can see here, once you post any of these three movement types, it will lead to posting of a material document and your total quantity and value will get reduced. So all these three movement types will basically behave as a goods issue movement type. You will issue the samples out of your received quantities and this sample will get tested, and during that testing process the sample will get destroyed. So you're not going to get back these 5 kgs which you have issued for sampling. And once that sample is accepted, this is the quantity that will be there in your warehouse as an accepted stock. If that sample is rejected, then this stock is what will be there in your warehouse, which either you will return to the vendor or you may scrap that material. So you have to remember these three movement types, that is 333 for unrestricted use stock, 331 for quality inspection stock, and 335 for blocked stock. And once you post these movement types, as I have told you, these movement types work as a goods issue movement type. So you will have a financial entry getting posted. And what that financial entry will contain? It will have a credit entry against the inventory and it will have a debit entry against expenses for quality control. So you will have an expense account which will get a debit entry against the inventory that you have issued. This inventory is the inventory of the sample, that is 5 kgs, which is shown here. Okay. The transaction keys will be BSX for the inventory posting and GBB for the offsetting posting, that is the expense posting that happens for the sampling method. So this is a simple goods issue process where you post any of these three movement types and the material gets issued for sampling process. Now let's see how we can do a non-destructive sampling. So again, you see you have a plant under which you have a storage location which is named as SLOC1. Now you receive 100 quantity under quality inspection stock. Let's say that your material is marked for quality inspection. So you receive 100 quantities of the material under quality inspection stock. Now this time we are not going to draw sample that will get destroyed. The sample which we will draw will not get destroyed and will still be part of our inventory. Earlier you saw that the 5 kgs that we issued was destroyed and total inventory got reduced. This time we are not going to reduce the inventory. This time our inventory will remain same, but we have to draw sample from this particular quality inspection stock. Now how we can do that without destroying the quantity? So here, rather than posting a goods issue movement, we will have to post a goods transfer movement. So what we'll do is we will create a specific storage location for the quality control lab. That is, you will have a warehouse where the samples will be kept for doing the quality testing. That warehouse we will map in SAP and give it a name under which we will transfer this sample quantity. Okay, so let's see. Now under the same plant, you have a storage location which is designated for your QC lab. Let's say that you give it a name lab 1 and then you will transfer the sample quantity from your SLOC1 to this storage location lab 1. So you can see here 5 quantity we have transferred from quality inspection stock of SLOC1 to quality inspection stock of lab 1. The movement type which is used here is 323. So you can see here, without destroying the quantity, we have transferred this sample quantity from quality inspection stock of the receiving storage location to quality inspection stock of the quality control lab storage location. So at any moment of time, your total quantity will always be 100 each. Let's say that you have received 100 monitors. Out of that 100 monitors, you have transferred 5 monitors to this storage location. This storage location is designated for conducting the quality test. Okay. Now, once this 5 quantity is inspected and is accepted by the quality lab, you will have to transfer this quality inspection stock to the unrestricted use stock. So you can see here we will use movement type 321 to transfer this sample quantity of 5 numbers from quality inspection stock of the lab storage location to the unrestricted use stock of our originating storage location. And once we have transferred this 5 quantity, the remaining 95 quantity also we will transfer from quality inspection stock of SLOC1 to unrestricted use stock of SLOC1. So you can see here at any moment of time, the total quantity which is available in the system is 100 each only. We have not destroyed the sample, we have simply transferred the sample from receiving storage location to the storage location which is designated for the QC lab. Okay. Now this activity is only possible when you know beforehand that the material will be subjected to non-destructive testing. But let's say that as a warehouse manager, you do not know beforehand that the material will be tested through non-destructive process. So in that case, what you will do is first you will post this 331 movement type to draw the sample as we did in the destructive testing method. Once this sample is issued, you will send this sample physically to your QC lab. From there, if you get the information that this sample will not be destroyed, then you will post the reversal of this 331, that is movement type 332, and you will take back this sample again in your quality inspection stock. And then you will follow this process. Okay, that is the non-destructive testing process. So now that we have discussed both these destructive and non-destructive sampling process, let's see in SAP how we can post these movement types and how the financial entries are posted. So now let's see in SAP how we can perform this destructive and non-destructive sampling process. So first of all, let's create the material code for coffee beans. So we'll go to T code MM01. We'll select basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1, and accounting 1. We'll enter the plant and the storage location. We'll enter the description here, unit of measurement. We'll enter material group. We'll enter the valuation class and we'll save this material. So you can see here our material code is created. Now let's create a purchase order for this material. So we'll go to ME21N. We'll enter the material code here, PO quantity. We'll enter some unit price. Now in the delivery tab, you can see there is a field for stock type, and you can see here all these three stock types are available. You have unrestricted use stock, block stock, and quality inspection stock. Now you can see system automatically selects stock type as unrestricted use stock. Now when you do GR, system will post the inventory under the stock type which is available under the delivery tab for the PO line item. So you can see here, if I select stock type as unrestricted use and then post the GR, system will post my inventory under this stock type. Now, if you want to post this material to quality inspection stock, then you can select quality inspection here and save this purchase order. Now there is one more way where you can default this stock type field as quality inspection stock. Let's say that you have a material which is always subject to quality inspection. So to default this value to quality inspection, you can mark this indicator in the material master itself. Now let's see that first. So to change the material master, we'll go to T code MM02. So we'll go to T code MM02. We'll press enter and we'll select this purchasing view. We'll enter the plant. And you can see here there is a checkbox called post to inspection stock. Now for all the material which are always subject to quality inspection, you can activate this checkbox, and then whenever you will create the purchase order for this material, system will automatically select the stock type as quality inspection stock in the PO line item. Now let's see that. So we'll activate this checkbox and then save this material code. Now let's create the PO again. We'll enter this material code. and we'll press enter. We'll enter some quantity and we'll enter the plant. Now if we go to the delivery tab, you can see system automatically selects the stock type as quality inspection. And this has happened because we have marked in the material master that always you have to post this material to inspection stock. If I double click here, you can go to the material master and see this checkbox is selected. Post to inspection stock is activated. And because of this, when I created the purchase order, system automatically selects the stock type as quality inspection here. Now let's save this purchase order. Now let's create GR for this PO. So we'll go to Migo. We'll select goods receipt, purchase order. We'll enter the PO number here. We'll press enter. So you can see 100 quantity of this material we are receiving. If you go to the where tab in this Migo screen also, you can see the stock type is selected as quality inspection. So there are three ways where you can mark the stock type as quality inspection. One is in the material master. You can activate the checkbox for posting to quality inspection so that the stock type is automatically selected as quality inspection in the PO line item. If this checkbox is not activated, then you can select this stock type as quality inspection in the PO line item manually also. If at all you have not selected that in the PO line item, then you can select this in the Migo screen also. So in all these three places, you can select the stock type as quality inspection. Okay, so you can see here from the PO system automatically selected the stock type as quality inspection here. So you can see we have posted the GR. Now let's verify the stock. We'll go to T code MB52. We'll enter the code and the plant and we'll execute. So you can see here under quality inspection, you have 100 kgs available. So we have done the GR for 100 kgs under quality inspection stock. Now we have to perform testing for this material. So for that, we'll have to draw sample out of this 100 kgs of the material that we have received under quality inspection stock. So how we can do that? For that, we'll have to post movement type 331. That is the movement type for sampling against quality inspection stock. So we'll go to Migo again. And we'll select goods issue, other, and here we have to enter movement type as 331. So you can see here 331 is for goods issue to sampling QI. That is, we are issuing goods for sampling process from quality inspection stock. So we'll have to enter the material code. We'll have to enter the sample quantity here. So let's say we enter 5 kgs here. So we are issuing 5 kgs out of the 100 kgs that we have received as sample. And on that sample, we'll perform the destructive testing. Okay. So here we'll enter the plant, the storage location, and we'll post this document. So you can see here the material document has been posted. Now what this posting has done, it has removed 5 kgs from my available stock. So let's verify that. So again, we'll go to MB52 and we'll execute it again. So you can see here now under quality inspection stock, we only have 95 kgs left, and the 5 kgs we have drawn as a sample out of the 100 kgs. Now for this 5 kgs, destructive testing will happen, and hence this sample quantity of 5 kg will get utilized during the testing process. Okay, so we have posted this 331 document. Now let's say that this material is accepted. So what we have to do is we have to transfer this 95 kgs which is there in our quality inspection stock to the unrestricted use stock. Okay, so how we'll do that? Again, we'll go to Migo. This time we'll select transfer posting and we'll enter movement type as 321. We'll enter our material code, the plant, enter the storage location, We'll enter 95 kgs here and we'll post this document. So you can see we have transferred the 95 kgs of the accepted material from quality inspection stock to unrestricted use stock. And now let's execute MB52 again. So you can see here under unrestricted use stock, we have 95 kgs available now. And the 5 kgs that we draw as a sample is destroyed during the testing process. Okay, so this is the whole destructive testing process or destructive sampling process that we did just now. Now let's post the other two movement types also, that is for sampling from unrestricted use stock and blocked stock, and see how those posting happen. So again, we'll go to MIGO. We'll select goods issue and this time we'll enter movement type as 333. So you can see this is for GI to sampling unrestricted. That is, you are drawing sample from the unrestricted use stock. So again, we'll enter the material code. We'll enter the quantity. We'll enter the plant. We'll enter the storage location and we'll post this document. So you can see the document has been posted. Now let's verify the stock again. So we'll go back and we'll execute. So now you can see under unrestricted use, you have 90 kgs left and 5 kgs have been removed through the sampling process from this unrestricted use stock through movement type 333. Now let's say that this sample is tested and the material is rejected. So now what we can do is we can transfer this unrestricted use stock to the blocked stock, that is the material which has been rejected and can no longer be withdrawn for consumption. So let's post that movement. So we'll go to MIGO again. We'll select transfer posting and we'll enter movement type as 344. Now let's enter the material code here. We'll enter the plant. We'll enter the storage location and we'll enter the full quantity here. That is, we have rejected the material after testing the sample and now we are transferring the whole quantity from unrestricted to the blocked stock. So we'll post this document. So you can see we have transferred this 90 kgs to blocked stock. So let's verify in MB52 and you can see now you have 90 kgs available in blocked stock. Now let's post the sampling movement type from blocked stock also and see how system posts this document. Now let's say that again we want to do this testing process on this blocked stock and see whether we can reutilize this material or not. So what we have to do is we have to do sampling from this blocked stock. So how we can do that? Again, we'll go to MIGO. We'll select goods issue and this time we'll enter movement type as 335. So you can see 335 is goods issued for sampling for blocked stock. Okay. Again, we'll enter the material code. We'll enter the sample quantity, that is 5 kgs. And we'll post this document. So you can see the document has been posted. Now let's refresh this MB52. Now you can see under blocked stock you have 85 kgs left. So we issued 5 kg sample each from quality inspection stock, unrestricted stock and blocked stock through movement type 331, 333 and 335. And through this we removed 15 kgs out of the 100 kgs that we received in the quality inspection stock earlier. So in this way I showed you all those three movement types through which you can withdraw the sample for destructive testing process. Now let's verify what financial document gets posted when we withdraw the sample through any of these three movement types. So we'll go to our previous document that we posted against the quality inspection stock. So we'll select display. So you can see this document was posted for sampling from quality inspection stock, the first document that we posted with movement type 331. Now let's verify the financial document posted. So we'll go to document info, click on FI documents and we'll double click on accounting document. Now here you can see you have a credit entry against the inventory line and you have a debit entry against the expense for quality inspection process. And you can see the transaction keys are BSX for the inventory line and GBB for the expense posting for the sampling process. So you can see here, this GL that has been picked by the system is for the expense posting for sampling process. And how this GL gets determined, let's verify that. So for that, we'll have to go to the configuration of movement type 331. Okay, so let's open OMJJ. So we'll go to OMJJ. We'll select movement type checkbox. We'll enter movement type as 331. Now here we'll go to the account grouping. And you can see here our material is evaluated material. So for that, we have this line that is being picked by the system to determine the GL automatically. So you have movement type 331. You have quantity and value update both, which is from the material master. And you can see for the transaction key GBB, the account modifier that has been maintained is VQP. Now you can see there is another line also where same settings are there. Only difference is you have a consumption indicator V mentioned here. And for that, the account modifier is VQY. So in which case VQP will be called and in which case VQY will be called. Let's see that. So whenever you post this movement type 331, if you enter any cost object on the Migo screen, let's say that you enter a cost center or a WBS element or a internal order, if you enter any cost object, then system will pick this line for GL determination, because you can see here, then the consumption indicator V will be picked by the system, because system will understand that you are going to post this expense against a cost object, the cost object that you will enter on the Migo screen. If you do not enter any cost object, then the system will automatically pick the GL from this line, that is account modifier VQP. Now in our current case, we posted this 331 document without entering any cost object. If we go to this document, if we go back, you can see in the account assignment tab, we did not enter any cost object. You can see there is a GL account which was derived automatically, but there is no cost object entered here, like there is no cost center or order or WBS element. So system picked this account modifier, that is VQP. Now let's verify the GL. So we'll go to T code OBYC. We'll go to T code OBYC. We'll go to transaction GBB. Enter the chart of account. And here we'll enter the general modifier as VQP. You can see here VQP is maintained here. The account modifier which is mentioned in this column is same as the general modifier which is mentioned in this column here. We have already discussed this in our movement type configuration. If you haven't seen the video on the movement type configuration, then you can see that on my channel. So you can see here this general modifier is called through this line here. You can see this line VQP is picked by the system, and we'll enter the valuation class and we'll press enter. So you can see GL237000 has been maintained here, and the same GL system picked while posting this document. You can see here this GL was picked by the system. If you go to the FI document also, you can see against the GBB line, the GL237000 was called by the system through this movement type configuration and this GL configuration. Okay. Now let's post this 331 with a cost object. So we'll go to Migo again. Now since our stock is under block stock, so let's transfer this to quality inspection first. So we'll select transfer posting. We'll enter movement type 349 here. We'll enter our material code, the plant. We'll enter the storage location. We'll enter the quantity that is there in our stock, and we'll post this document. So now we have transferred the full quantity to quality inspection. Now let's post movement type 331 to draw sample from this quality inspection stock. So we'll select goods issue. We'll enter movement type as 331. We'll enter our material code. We'll enter the sample quantity here. We'll enter the plant and the storage location. And this time what we're going to do is we are going to enter a cost object in the Migo screen. So we'll go to account assignment tab and here we'll enter the cost center. So you can see we have entered a cost center here. Now if we verify the movement type 331 configuration, this line will be picked by the system rather than this line, because now the consumption indicator V will be picked by the system because we have entered a cost object while posting this movement type 331. Now let's verify that. So we'll post this document now. Now let's verify the accounting document that got posted in this material document. So we'll select display and we'll go to document info and click on FI documents. Now if we open this accounting document, you can see a different GL has been called this time. Now let's verify the earlier document that we posted. So let's go to MyGo. And this time we will display the previous 331 document. So let's display the FI document for this material document. So we'll double click here. And you can see here earlier the GL that was called is 237000 and this time the GL that is called is 4 all zeros and 2. So you can see a different GL is called by the system when we enter the cost center in the Migo screen while posting movement type 331. And this has happened because of the 331 configuration. You can see here, if you enter any cost object, then consumption indicator V is selected by the system and account modifier VQY is selected by the system rather than selecting VQP. And let's see what GL is maintained against this account modifier VQY. So we'll go to OBYC screen again and this time we'll enter valuation modifier 0001 and general modifier as VQY. We'll enter the valuation class. So you can see here the GL that is maintained here is 4 all zeros and 2. And this GL was called by the system when we posted the 331 document with the cost center. You can see here we enter this cost center in the Migo screen while posting the 331 movement type, and that is why system picked this GL rather than picking this GL. For all these movement types 331, 333 and 335, same accounting document will get generated. Okay. So this completes our destructive testing process. Now let's see how we can do the non-destructive testing process in SAP. Now let's see how we can do the non-destructive process in SAP. So first let's create the material code. So we'll go to MM01. We'll select basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1 and accounting 1. We'll enter the plant and the storage location. We'll enter the description. So this time we are creating material code for monitor. We'll enter the unit of measurement, the material group. And this time we will not mark this material as post to inspection stock. Let's say that you have material where you do not want the quality inspection to happen all the time. So in those cases where you want the quality inspection, you will mark that in the PO itself. Rather than marking that in the material master, you will mark this indicator in the purchase order. Okay. We'll enter the valuation class and we'll save this material code. Now let's create the purchase order for this material. So we'll go to ME21N. We'll enter this material. Let's enter some quantity and value. Let's enter the plant. And let's select quality inspection in the PO itself. So we'll select quality inspection here and we'll save this purchase order. Now let's do the GR for this PO. So we'll go to MyGo. We'll select goods receipt. We'll enter this purchase order. We'll enter the storage location and we'll post this GR. Now let's verify the stock of this material in MB52. So you can see here 100 quantity has been received in storage location 0001 under quality inspection stock. Now, once you have received these 100 monitors, you have to draw a sample from this quantity, but you are not supposed to destroy this sample. So what you have to do is, this time we will not be posting those sampling movement types, that is those goods issue movement types that we did for sampling process. What we'll do is, we will transfer this quantity from the receiving storage location, that is 0001, to a new storage location which is specifically created for the QC lab. So let's first create the storage location for the QC lab. So we'll go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. We'll go to enterprise structure, definition, materials management, and here we'll click on maintain storage location. We'll enter our plant and press enter. And here we'll create a new storage location for our QC lab. So we'll click on new entries. We'll enter lab 1 and we'll enter description as QC lab slog. So this storage location is specifically being created to keep that sample that we have withdrawn for non-destructive testing. Okay, so let's save this storage location. Now we'll have to transfer our sample quantity from the receiving storage location, that is 0001, to this storage location which is specifically for the QC lab. So we'll go to T-code mygo. We'll select transfer posting and we have to enter movement type as 323. So you can see 323 is for transfer quality in plant. That is, within the same plant, you will transfer the quality inspection stock from one storage location to another. So we'll enter our material code. We'll enter the plant. We'll enter the issuing storage location, that is the storage location in which we received our material. And here we'll enter the storage location where we want to send this sample to, that is the QC lab storage location. So we'll enter lab 1 here. Okay, and we'll enter the sample quantity here. So we are issuing 5 monitors from our storage location to the QC lab storage location. And at this storage location, this monitor will undergo the non-destructive testing process. Okay, so let's post this document. So you can see we have posted this document. Now let's verify the stock of this material. So again, we'll go to MB52. We'll go back and we'll execute this. Now you can see still we have 100 quantities there in our system, but this sample quantity, that is 5 numbers of monitors, are available under this storage location which is designated for the QC lab. So through this you can see 95 monitors you have available under 0001 and this 5 quantity is available under storage location lab 1. So in this way you have not destroyed this sample quantity. You have transferred the sample quantity to a different storage location. And at this storage location or at this warehouse, the material will undergo the non-destructive testing process. And once this material is accepted, you have to transfer this quantity and the original quantity also to the unrestricted use stock. So in totality, you will always have 100 quantity of monitors available in your system. Okay, so now let's say that this 5 quantity is accepted. So what we'll do is we will have to transfer this to the unrestricted use stock through movement type 321. So let's again go to MIGO. We'll select transfer posting and this time we'll enter movement type as 321. We'll enter the material code. We'll enter the plant. We'll enter the storage location. And in this storage location, we have 95 quantity available. Now we'll add one more line item. So we'll click on this next button. We'll again enter the same material. We'll enter the plant. And here we'll enter the storage location for the QC lab. So we'll enter lab 1 here. And here we'll enter our original storage location. So now what we are doing is, from the quality inspection stock of lab 1, we are transferring to the unrestricted use stock of 0001. So in totality, 100 quantities will get transferred from quality inspection stock to unrestricted stock. So let's post this document. Now let's verify the stock. So we'll go to MB52 again and we'll execute. And you can see here now you have 100 quantity available under unrestricted use stock. So in this way, we saw in SAP how we can do the destructive testing and the non-destructive testing process. Now let's see what is the scrapping process in SAP. Let's say that you have some material in your inventory which is no longer in use. Let's say that material is damaged or it is a shelf life material and the shelf life has expired. In that case, that material is no longer required in your inventory and you need to scrap that stock. Okay, so you have specific movement types in SAP through which you can do this scrapping process. So you can see on the screen, let's say that you have 100 kgs of coffee beans in your inventory with total value of 10,000 rupees. Let's say that half of the material has been damaged. So what you have to do is you have to perform the scrapping process for this 50 kg which has been damaged. And you can see here, this material can lie under any of these three stock types, that is unrestricted use stock, quality inspection stock and blocked stock. For each of these stock types, you have specific movement types to post this scrapping process. So for unrestricted use stock, the movement type is 551. For quality inspection stock, the movement type is 553. And for block stock, the movement type is 555. And again, all these movement types are like goods issue movement types. They will basically issue the stock from your existing inventory. So you can see here, if you post a material document for scrapping for 50 kg, the quantity will get reduced by the scrapping quantity and the value also will reduce accordingly. And again, you will have a FI posting happening in which you will have a credit entry against the inventory and a debit entry against the scrap account. So you can see here your inventory will get reduced and a debit entry will happen against the scrap account. Now let's see in SAP how we can post all these movement types and how we can perform this scrapping process, and we'll also see what all financial entries are posted while we post all these three movement types. So we'll go to Migo again and we'll enter movement type as 551. So you can see this is for scrapping. This is goods issue scrapping here. We'll enter the material code here. We'll enter some quantity, the plant and the storage location. Now what we are doing is we are posting a scrapping movement type from unrestricted use stock. You can see here stock type is unrestricted use, and once we post this document, this quantity will get removed from the inventory. So let's post this document. So you can see the document has been posted. Now let's verify the stock of this material. So you can see now only 95 quantity is available under unrestricted use stock and 5 quantity we have posted against scrapping. The movement type that we used is 551. Okay, now let's verify the financial document. So we'll go to display and we'll click on FI documents. Now if we open the accounting document, you can see system posted a credit entry against the inventory line and system posted a debit entry against the GL for scrapping process. You can see here this GL is picked by the system for scrapping and the transaction key is GBB. Now let's see the configuration of this movement type 551 and see how this GL was determined by the system. So again, we'll go to OMJJ. We'll enter movement type as 551. And if we go to account grouping, you can see for GBB, the account modifier is VNG. So this account modifier is picked by the system to determine the GL which is to be posted against the expense line. Okay, so let's go to OBYC and verify the GL. So here we'll have to enter valuation modifier as 0001, general modifier as VNG, and valuation class is 3000 from the material master. So you can see this GL is mapped against the general modifier VNG, and this GL was called when we posted the movement type 551, that is movement against scrapping. You can see here, this GL was called by the system for movement type 551. If we go back, you can see we have posted this movement type 551, that is goods issue for scrapping. Now 551 is for scrapping from unrestricted use stock. If you want to post scrapping from quality, then the movement type is 553, and you will do this by the same process. You will select goods issue and you will enter movement type as 553, and you can see 553 is for GI scrapping from quality inspection. Similarly, from blocked stock you will post movement type 555. Okay, so this is GI scrapping blocked. So you have all these three movement types for doing the scrapping process. So this is the summary of everything that we discussed today. We discussed all these three processes, that is destructive sampling, non-destructive sampling, and the scrapping process. I have mentioned all the movement types and the FI entries which get posted against all these three processes. I hope that you have understood this concept, and I hope that you have liked this video. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and subscriptions really motivate me to create more content on SAP MM module. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.